Give Oklahomans the right to be treated with medical marijuana. This is OU Nightly. Zika has found hosts in 4 Oklahomans. The Centers for Disease Control reports blood tests confirm that that's how many state residents have contracted the virus. One of the cases is a pregnant woman.
And the CDC says the 4 cases are travel-related, not caused by infected mosquitoes in the Sooner State. Meanwhile, Nightly's Emily Aikens shows us the State Department of Health is working to keep the disease at bay.
As summer approaches and more travelers head out of the United States, the Oklahoma State Department of Health broadens efforts to protect people from the dangers of the Zika virus.
As more and more people acquire the infection abroad, and if they return to the United States while they still are ill and have the virus in their bloodstream, that our mosquitoes native to Oklahoma could potentially bite that infected person and then turn around and bite another person, and that's how.
Although the disease has not begun establishing itself in Oklahoma, a 4th resident has contracted the disease abroad, pushing the department to become proactive.
So we're developing an enhanced surveillance or case finding plan if we have a case that we suspect is locally acquired. And then we would have to notify our partners in surrounding states and the CDC, and then there would be a.
The department may have a plan in progress, but because the Zika virus symptoms are normally mild, catching the disease may be harder than expected.
When for most people it's a pretty mild illness, so they're not going to be going, so we can't really do case finding through doctor's offices or medical records because a lot of these persons will just stay at home from work or school. And
the virus is quickly spreading through southern parts of the globe, but the department says Oklahomans may not have much to worry about.
And we actually think there's a pretty low probability that it would be able to establish itself and spread within Oklahoma.
Although it may not seem like much, mosquito spray, wearing long sleeves, and even mosquito nets can help prevent Zika from spreading. Emily Aikens, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Emily. The health department is particularly concerned about that Oklahoma pregnant woman. There are still many concerns about Zika's threat to pregnant women and its role in causing birth defects. Part of the solution may have to do with geography. So far, Zika-infected mosquitoes have not been detected in the U.S. mainland. So pregnant women are advised to avoid traveling to Zika-infected parts of Latin America and the Caribbean.
And flooding in Houston hit an ultimate high this weekend with 17 inches of rain falling in just 24 hours. Here in Oklahoma, flooding has also been a problem with several rivers down south overflowing. Flooding now surpasses severe weather as the deadliest weather-related hazard, causing more fatalities in Oklahoma than tornadoes in 2015. It only takes a foot to a foot and a half of rapidly moving water to float a vehicle and a mere 6 inches of fast-moving floodwater to knock over an adult.
Examples in recent history, last year in Oklahoma, a lot during May, where the water was moving so rapidly it washed the road out. So if you're driving through a flooded area at night, for example, you may not know how deep the water is. So if there's any doubt at all as to how deep that water might be, then turn around, don't drown.
And to learn more about flooding, visit www.add.weather.gov.
Yeah, and that rain caused a lot of flooding in a lot of Oklahoma counties.
It was very soggy outside today.
Yes, it was. Hey, Kaylee, what can you tell us?
Well, that's right, guys. The majority of Oklahoma has seen some issues from those flooding rains that we've had the past days, even though they are out of the majority of the state for now. However, the southern parts of the state are still experiencing some issues from flooding. The Ouachita River is actually only 2 feet underneath flood levels, which is why, as you can see, some of these counties are highlighted in the bright green. They are still under flash flood warnings until it expires and until that threat is out of the way. In the southwest corner of the state over here where this light green area is, that is a flash flood watch. It is a watch, not a warning, which means that the conditions are right for flooding to occur, but that it's not necessarily happening. All this flooding has been caused by all this rain that we have been seeing, and those rain totals across the state are pretty substantial. We saw just over an inch and a half up in Oklahoma City in the past 24 hours, about a half inch in Norman, with the wet spot being down in Ardmore, which saw almost 2.5 inches of rain. Up next in Maine weather, we're going to talk about how there's going to be some cooler overnight temperatures due to the fact that these rains are still hanging around. We are going to see some overnight showers, and I'll have a look at your guys' weekend forecast. But for now, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kaylee. Well, Pennsylvania did it yesterday, and 23 other states did it before that. We sent OU Nightly's Stephen Kabler to find out if or when Oklahoma might legalize medical marijuana.
Marijuana, pot, ganja, weed, medicine? One of these things is not like the other. Or is it?
So many people were suffering from different issues where medicinal marijuana may help them, whether it be overcoming issues with cancer or pain pill addiction. It didn't make sense to me to not allow the doctors to have options to treat their patients.
Marijuana has been legalized for medical use in 24 states, most recently Pennsylvania, and as that list quickly rises, it is possible that Oklahoma could join the list sooner rather than later.
I certainly hope November of this year. We need to get this petition finalized. We'll have 90 days to get the signatures on the petition once the Attorney General certifies it as acceptable.
The revenue from taxes on the medicine could bring in a substantial amount of money that would be put towards Oklahoma's budget shortfall.
Written into the petition language is a 7% state tax that will be collected. So we know this will generate more revenue for the state of Oklahoma.
Dorman hopes to have the petition for medical marijuana use signed and in the legislature in time to get it on the November general ballot. But it will take a joint effort before we see any change. Stephen Kabler.
And Dorman says he's hopeful 66,000 registered Oklahoma voters will sign the petition. For more information, visit www.oklahomansforhealth.com. And in a long-anticipated report on Colorado's controversial marijuana laws, researchers have found Colorado kids are not smoking more pot since the drug became legal. But it's a different story for their older siblings and parents. The report that reveals that from 2005 through 2014, after legalization, pot use among high school students actually dropped from 23 to 20%. The report showed the same trend for kids under 13. Meanwhile, since legalization in 2012, adult pot smoking is rising at a rate of about 5% per year.
And OU Nightly's Ashley Sanchez is joining us now in the News Center with results from the New York primary. Ashley?
Thanks. Well, Trump and Clinton both won huge in New York last night. Cruz got destroyed by Trump, losing to him in every single demographic according to exit polls. And Clinton, who announced her White House bid in New York, said last night that she's in the home stretch with a victory in sight. New York brought an especially pivotal point for Ted Cruz. According to a CNN prediction, Cruz would have to win 101% of the remaining pledged delegates. This means that Cruz's only hope is making a contested convention. The next northeastern states, all voting next Tuesday, aren't exactly Cruz country. His best hope now is trying to keep his losing margin small and make the best of a bad hand. And Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuett announced criminal charges against 3 state and local workers for their role in the Flint water crisis. The charges are against 2 officials at the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality and a Flint water supervisor. These charges are the first to come out of the water catastrophe, but Schuett assures they are just the beginning. That's what's happening around the world. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, still ahead on OU Nightly, goodbye Hamilton and hello Harriet, how the $20 bill in your wallet is in for a new makeover.
Plus, OU is facing what may be the greatest crisis in school history. Stay with us.
Good, April. Bourne is calling the university's budget problems the greatest crisis in school history. Nightly's Aaliyah Covington shows us just how a special meeting with students turned into a course on advanced economics.
President Bourne was all smiles walking to the Beard Lounge.
Well, I'm glad to see all of our student officers here today, as well as all of you.
But he quickly got down to business.
The budget crisis, as all of you know, is one of the most serious that we've ever faced in the history of the university, without exaggeration.
So serious, Bourne presented descriptive graphs showing when state funding dropped.
46% came from the state to pay the cost of educating a student at the University of Oklahoma. By 1995, dropped to 32%.
Bourne also referenced the pay cut proposal, saying it's for everyone.
Was it an important message? It was an important message. We're in this together.
The discussion ended with questions from 4 students and a reassurance tuition won't be trouble.
Know that just as we grapple the next couple of months with whatever the final figures are from the legislature, we will be doing everything that we can to keep the burden as low as possible on tuition fees.
So how did the students respond?
A tough conversation every time, with a lot of people feeling the pain of these cuts. But I think it's a productive conversation to have, and I think President Bourne and the leadership are moving in the right direction.
Really showcases what the university is trying to do to combat these budget deficits and what potentially what we can do just to help better our community in the state of Oklahoma and public education.
Aaliyah Covington, OU Nightly.
Harriet Tubman, famously known as the abolitionist who rescued slaves using the Underground Railroad, will replace Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill. Tubman will not only be the first woman to be featured on the U.S. currency, but also the first African American.
And speaking of money, big news for the Oklahoma economy. A U.S. House committee has approved to continue funding the KC-46A project in Oklahoma. This means the much-anticipated refueling tanker known as the Pegasus is one step closer to taking flight. If approved by the U.S. House, Oklahoma will receive money for military-based projects totaling nearly $77 million. OKC's Tinker Air Force Base is set to receive $17 million for the Pegasus Integration Lab. And Altus Air Force Base will receive nearly $12 million for a Pegasus simulator facility. The planes will be housed and maintained at Tinker, while Pegasus's pilots will be trained in Altus.
And if passed, that bill will really benefit businesses in Oklahoma. And since we are on the topic of business, Lindsay Gomez is here in studio with the latest reports from the business world. Lindsay, what are the latest corporate reaction to the transgender bathroom issue?
Target is taking a stand on the transgender bathroom controversy playing out across the nation. The retail giant says that transgender customers can use restrooms corresponding to their gender identity. Several states have passed laws forcing people to use restrooms according to the gender on their birth certificate. A similar bill is being proposed by a lawmaker in Minnesota, and that state is Target's headquarters. And Visa and Walmart are minimizing the time you spend at the cash register. Visa says it has upgraded its software so that chip-enabled cards won't take quite so long to process. The company says a Visa chip card will only need about 2 seconds to register. This will cut about 18 seconds off of transaction times. And Walmart will no longer ask customers to confirm the amount of their transactions. This will save about 11 seconds in total. And CVS has announced that the launching of its new curbside pickup service. The company says that customers will be able to order items with a mobile app and have them delivered right to their vehicle. It's called CVS Express. Customers will not pay any extra for the service. Retailers say orders will be ready within an hour. CVS Express will be available immediately at stores in California, North Carolina, and Georgia. Most other U.S. locations will have the service by the end of the year. Guys, this is a very convenient service, but people will still be required to go inside the store to pick up prescription drugs and other medicines.
I'm glad to hear that it's a lot more convenient for them.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Lindsay.
you.
Well, still ahead on OU Nightly, a few Chinese bulldozers are being used in an unconventional way.
Plus, Kaylee will be here to give us another look at this week's forecast.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kaylee Nix here with your weather. Right now we're taking a live look outside at McCaslin Fieldhouse where the skies have cleared and it's broken way to a very nice and very sunny day. However, the skies are not going to stay so clear as we head into the overnight hours. We are looking at some rain chances for tonight. The majority of the northern part of the state is going to see chances between 25 and 40%, dropping down and increasing as we head farther south. We're going to see 40 to 60% chances of rain as we head through the central part of the state, all the way through from west to east, and then the lower southwestern portion is going to see 60 to 80% chances of rain, meaning that we are going to see some storms and some showers for your overnight hours. Right now outside in Norman, it's 63 degrees with the calm winds, humidity of 68%. As we could see, it was beautiful outside with that live shot. Current temperatures around the rest of the state, we're going to see a lot of 60 degrees temperatures pretty much around the entirety of the state. Very nice temperatures around the state. Tonight, as we head into your overnight hours, our low is going to drop down into the 50s with light winds, and it is going to be mostly cloudy as those storms roll in. Around the state, more of the same 50-degree temperatures with those storms. As you head out in the door in the morning, it's going to be 55 degrees. Still light winds, a cool start, but those rains will move out, as well as for the rest of the day. We'll see 67 degrees around noon, and then a high in the 70s at 4 p.m. High across the metros tomorrow, more of the same 70s and upper 60s for the majority of the metro area, and that is the same across the rest of the state. We'll see 71 up in Ponca City and 72 down in Norman for your high temperatures tomorrow. Looking ahead to the 7-day forecast, once those rains head out of there tomorrow evening, we'll see lots of 70s for the weekend with some clear skies. However, storms are going to pop back into the beginning of next week with chances increasing as we go along for some showers and thunderstorms next week.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Kaylee.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Well, moving on to sports, it looks like the women's gymnastics team just can't stop winning in their winning ways. Clarke Sachs is here with more.
Thanks, Annie. Find out which OU football player announced he's leaving the program. And nothing new for women's gymnastics as they continue to win even after the season. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Clarke Sachs. Earlier this afternoon, redshirt freshman receiver John Humphrey announced he is transferring from the football team, but has not announced where he will attend yet. But after bringing home the national championship, even more awards pour in for women's gymnastics. 9 gymnasts earned a program record 18 All-American honors. The previous school record for honors in a season was 13. Junior Chase Caps led the way with 5 honors, including first team in 3 events, plus all-around. Softball freshman infielder Shay Knighton was a big part of the team's 4-0 record last week on her way to earning her first Big 12 Player of the Week honor. In the 4-game stretch, Knighton reached base 11 of 13 times and batted an incredible .778. In the opening game against Texas, she went 3 for 3 and was just a triple shy of hitting for the cycle. Meanwhile, softball is in Fayetteville tonight to take on the Razorbacks at 6. The Sooners have 6 straight wins against Arkansas, including 3 straight run rules. OU is 20-2 all-time against Arkansas for the program's second-best winning percentage among teams it's faced at least 20 times. And the Sooner baseball team takes on the OSU Cowboys tonight at 6 after last night's game was rained out. The game was actually a rare non-conference matchup between the Bedlam rivals to help out the team's RPI score. Bedlam at the ballpark returns to L. Dale Mitchell for the first time in 2 years. And NBA action last night, and we start in Atlanta where things got ugly pretty early. The Hawks held the Celtics to an NBA postseason record low 7 points in the first quarter. Kyle Korver was the big man. He led all players with 17 points in Atlanta's 89-72 win to take a 2-series lead as that game will shift to Boston. And then later at San Antonio, where Tim Duncan was held without a field goal for the first time in his career. But it was another blowout win for the Spurs, 94-68, in a game where they never trailed. The Mavericks' 85-84 win Monday night marked the biggest NBA postseason upset in 20 seasons after Dallas entered the game as a 14-point underdog. The point margin also equals the number of blown fourth-quarter leads OKC had entering the game before upping that number to 15, which unfortunately is still the most in the NBA this season. But despite the Game 2 loss, the Thunder should have the upper hand coming into the Game 3 tomorrow night as the Mavs are filled with injuries. Superstar Dirk Nowitzki suffered a bone bruise to his right knee Monday night and is listed as probable. He joins Darren Williams, J.J. Barea, David Lee, and Devin Harris as the Mavs currently fighting to get back on the court. Last night at the Hawks-Celtics game, and everyone knows they've got the kiss cam at games, the couple in front is going at it like it's prom night, but then you've got the girl in the back with everyone's true love, pizza. For her, no date, no problem, as she enjoys a nice double slice and doesn't seem to mind, just like those in front of her.
She's so graceful.
The pizza looked good to me.
I can't agree with her anymore.
I like it.
Thanks, Clarke. Still ahead to come on OU Nightly, we'll have an evening planner for you.
And this could be the next Fight Club. We'll have more when we come back.
I'm Emily Akins at the OU Nightly Update Desk. OU's 102nd Annual School of Art and Art History exhibition opens tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the Fred Jones Jr. Museum of Art. And the phrase Boomer Sooner has become a topic of controversy again. The subject was brought up in an undergraduate student Congress meeting yesterday, debating whether or not it was offensive to Native people and their history. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Emily. And with weather tonight, what should our evening planner look like?
Well, we're looking at possibly expecting another soggy night with rain chances increasing as we head into the evening hours. It's going to be 68 with those clouds increasing as we hit 8 p.m., cooling off down to 63 at 10, and then 60 around midnight when those chance for showers increases. However, winds are going to be light, keeping it pleasant before it drops into a low in the 50s tonight. So if you guys are going to head out tonight at all, be sure to have that umbrella or that rain jacket just in case those showers hit earlier than we expect.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear the weather is going to be, a little bit rainy,
Yeah,
but
a little
not
bit
too
nicey,
much.
but that's not bad.
Well, thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.
I'm Kaylee Nix, and this is an OU TV weather brief. Heavy rains have soaked Oklahoma for the past few days, leaving us with rain totals from the past 24 hours, ranging from little trace amounts all the way down to almost 2.5 inches that we see down here in Ardmore. Those rain chances are going to increase tonight as we head into the overnight hours, ranging from 25 to 40% up and across the northern third of the state, to 40 to 60 down in central Oklahoma, with our main chances being down in southwestern Oklahoma, their chances of 60 to 80% of more heavy rain. Low temperatures tonight are going to be mainly across the 50s and some high 40s for the majority of the state. We'll see a cool temperature of 48 degrees up here in Guyman, with another temperature up here in Norman of 55 degrees. As you head out the door tomorrow, that 55-degree temperature is going to feel pretty nice as those overnight rains clear and head out of the state. By noon, we're going to hit 67 degrees, light winds out of the north, 10 miles an hour, and then warm up to 71 for a beautiful Thursday with those winds still out of the north at 10 miles an hour. High temperatures across the state for tomorrow are mainly 70s and some high 60s, perfect right where they should be for this time of April, and it's a good thing those clouds are going to clear out, which is why we're going to head and warm up that high. 7-day forecast ahead for you. We're going to see mainly 70s and 80s as we head into the next week before storm chances increase Tuesday into Wednesday. This has been an OU TV Weather Brief. I'm Kaylee Nix.
This is an OU TV News Brief. I'm Emily Akins.
Hey, just make sure your hair, it's good right now. Just make sure it's
This is an OU TV News Brief. I'm Emily Akins. The Zika virus has come to Oklahoma. 4 Oklahomans have tested positive for the virus. One of those is a pregnant woman. The CDC claims the cases are travel-related, not caused by infected mosquitoes in Oklahoma. Yesterday, Pennsylvania joined a growing list of states to legalize marijuana, and that has some wondering if Oklahoma is next on the list. Legalizing pot has its appeals. Many consider the revenue from taxes on medical marijuana a potential fix for the state budget shortfall. State Representative Joe Durbon hopes to have a petition for medical marijuana use signed and in the legislature before the November ballot. Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew announced a proposal yesterday to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Lew went back on a promise he made last year to replace Alexander Hamilton on the $10 bill in favor of replacing Andrew Jackson. This has been an OU TV News Brief. I'm Emily Akins. Good night.
This is an OU TV Sports Brief. I'm Chris Hubbard. After winning the national championship Saturday, awards just keep flowing in for the women's gymnastics. 9 women won a program record 18 All-America honors, with Junior Chase Caps leading the Sooners with 5 honors, one on all 4 events and adding another one on the all-around. Speaking of awards, Oklahoma softball freshman Shay Knighton was announced yesterday as the Big 12 Player of the Week. Knighton went 7 for 9 at the plate with 4 walks and a home run. She finished the week with 8 RBIs, helping to lead the Sooners to a 4-0 record for the week. The Sooners are in action tonight at Arkansas. And star forward Dirk Nowitzki has been added to the list of injured Mavs. He is listed as probable for Dallas's Game 3 tomorrow night at home against the Thunder after suffering a bruised knee in Monday's win. He joins 4 other injured Mavs players trying to get into the lineup. This was an OU TV Sports Brief. I'm Chris Hubbard. Be sure to watch OU Nightly weekdays at 4:30 right here on OU TV. Good night.